And hello, welcome to the show. It is Sunday, January 17th, 2021. And we're back for another fun show. Let's see here. I am going to go ahead and bring Zach in. Hello, Zach.
Hey.
How's it going this week? Average?
Yes.
I can just answer for you now. Anyway, so some news, potentially. I may be leaving my current employer. Ish. So, here's what's going on. So, at the end of 2020, I had applied for a position with a company. They were looking for like an IT support person or something like that. And that venture, unfortunately, did not pan out. And so I was scrolling through job listings a couple weeks ago. Probably last week, actually. Last week. And came across a couple of different options. And one of them is a company in our area that does some kind of security stuff. And they are looking for a security technician with an IT background, which I feel like I fit. Not so much on the security technician part of it, although I've had plenty of experience running wires and other things like that. Like the whole security aspect part of it. Like we're probably talking cameras here and maybe alarm systems. Like those interfaces I can learn. But so anyway, they want me to come in tomorrow and interview with them. So anyway.
Have you already done an interview or no?
Have I what?
An interview with them yet?
No, tomorrow.
First interview.
Yes, yep. So we'll see.
It's always promising that far.
Exactly. So we'll see. Likely part of the issue with some of these other companies is that they look at my resume, there's really not anything in terms of actual like real work experience that has like my IT background. I don't hold the degree like you do, unfortunately. And so really the only thing that states that I have some IT background is just my volunteer work that I've done. But they're willing to bring me in, so that's a plus.
Good.
So hopefully we'll see what happens with this. And so the reason I say I may be leaving my other my other employer ish is that I may still stay with that employer part-time. So maybe,
you'd have like literally 2 jobs.
Yes, but my other position would be at some point I would probably end up phasing it out. But it would be, I don't know, we may look at, a couple of Saturdays a month or something like that.
I cannot help but feel sorry for anyone who has 2 jobs. It's just ridiculous.
In fact, actually last year I did have 2 jobs. It was just the second one was very part-time. And it was actually more fun than it was necessarily a job. So I was getting paid to see, because if you remember, I used to work for a TV station and I've never actually left, fully. In fact, oh yeah, that's right. Do you remember I have this like super long cable on here?
No?
Oh, can you not see the video?
No, I can't.
How about now?
Now I can see it.
Apparently I have to turn that on every week. There we go. Put that over in the corner. Yeah, hold on. Let me throw this back up. This right here, Zach?
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, this is the key fob for the TV station.
Still go there?
It still works. Still works. No, so in fact, I haven't really been to the station lately. Ow. That hurt. It's a long cable, but it's just barely long enough to do that. Anyway, no, I stayed to continue filming sports for them, but with everything that's been currently going on, the whole 2021 season was basically wiped out. So we'll see what happens here in 2020 season was wiped out. We'll see what happens here in 2021. Who knows? But 2019, so I would work a full day at my current employer, and then Fridays. Oh, excuse me. Okay, and then Fridays, after getting done with my my normal shift at my employer, I would then go grab something to eat, and then head off to the TV station, and then go grab a company vehicle, grab a camera, and then head out to wherever it was that I was needing to film that night. Go shoot my games, run back to the station, edit them, write some scripts, which, yes, I actually was responsible for editing my own highlights, which, I mean, it kind of makes sense. And then also writing a script that was being read on air. It would get tweaked and stuff like that. I mean, it's different writing a sports script, I think, than necessarily like a news script. So anyway, but yeah, it was fun, and that's why I say yes. So I did have two jobs, but this was more like the fun job because I really enjoy doing that kind of stuff, like the production work, the going out, shooting a game, coming back, editing it, writing some scripts, and then I get to hang out with my old buddy as well, who's up in the Master Control area. So I made it a point, like, pretty much every week to scare the heck out of him, or scare the crap out of him. Which was always fun. There's two ways into the Master Control area, and so one of them I can actually peek in a giant window and just bang on the door, and the other one I can come in for the other side of that room, and then there's like a bunch of equipment that's stacked up. So basically, as long as you're quiet enough and careful about where you walk, they can't really see you. So anyway, yeah. But we'll see what happens with that. Second thing that I need to gripe about this week is this right here. My Dell G7 system. Oh my gosh, I am completely... There we go. My camera is doing better now. I don't know what it is about this computer, and I've had this issue ever since I got it, is it will just experience random issues with the graphics performance on it.
Power management?
I don't know. No, see, because it's running fine right now, but let me open up OBS on this thing and see. It was, like, weird, because, like, as soon as I opened OBS on this thing, like, it would... Now, I just updated the NVIDIA drivers on this, so I don't know if it's a problem with the NVIDIA drivers or if it's a problem with the onboard Intel HD graphics driver. Now, I did a BIOS update on this laptop at one point, and it fixed the issue. Or it improved it. But, alright, so OBS hasn't loaded yet, but so far so good. And it's one of the things that drives me crazy, because part of the reason why I bought this computer in the first place was to do creative work on it when I'm on the go. And if it has graphics performance issues when I've got stuff open, Like, even just OBS, like, what's the point?
Yeah, I feel that.
It's kind of funny though. So I have this laptop, the G7, and I bought it as a replacement to my MacBook Pro. And this thing literally lives in my bag 90% of the time these days. Then again, I mean, like, we're not going out anywhere or anything like that. I have taken this with me when I've done, especially like basketball season. The nice thing about basketball is shooting it is so quick because the teams consistently make baskets, basically. So a football game takes me, it can take me half an hour, 45 minutes, sometimes even longer to get 5 decent highlights from a football game. A basketball game, I can be in and out in about 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. There's just much more going on. It's a quicker game. And so because of that, what will often happen is that I can show up to my first game, grab a couple good highlights, head off to my next game, and if I'm lucky, I'll hit it in between games. So generally, I'll shoot a boys game first, and then a girls game second at my next location. So if I hit it correctly, or especially if I'm at the same location where I'm shooting both a boys and girls game, I'll get there before the boys game starts, grab my highlights real quick, and then I have that entire game to wait until I have the girls game, right? And so what I've done in the past is taken my my Dell laptop here with me and actually edited my highlights before I even get back to the station, which saves me a ton of time when I get back because I can just dump those in and let them render out, and then I just have scripts to write is all. So anyway, okay. So now that I've updated the NVIDIA driver on this seems to be working better. Oh, no, maybe I spoke too soon. Like, it's just weird. Like the cursor on this thing will like kind of lock up. Oh, that's right. I can uninstall. You can uninstall the weather app on Windows now. I forgot about that. The built-in.
I feel like you just haven't tried hard enough.
Huh?
I feel like you just haven't tried hard enough then.
Look, I can uninstall anything I want with CC Cleaner at any point on this system. I don't know. I can't be bothered. So, yeah, okay. Let's see. So the main reason I wanted to get this guy up and running was because there was a video that I wanted to play through. And so I've been looking at this. I want to do some kind of setup with a mixer in here so that I'm able to play content on my main system here and still throw it through, not only through the live stream, but also back to you and feeding you the audio. The issue with that is that I have to find a way to isolate your audio coming out of Discord and not send that back to you. Because if you hear yourself,
That's annoying.
Well, not necessarily annoying, but if you don't, well, it might be annoying to you. I'm used to it from radio. But if you don't hear it exactly in time with what you're saying, you speech jam yourself, which can be hilarious.
That's a no. That's an even bigger no.
Which can be hilarious to listen to, but very, very annoying. One of the things that we had to be mindful of if we were running the audio board, when we still had and even still now, but when I worked for the TV station, if I was running audio for that day, I would have to make sure that I checked our anchors' IFBs, or our reporters' IFBs. So they're the little things that they listen to the show in. And so we would have to make sure that we basically set up the correct, what they call a mix minus, where we would send them everything that was happening from the show, be it the video playback servers or the main anchor's mic, definitely the producer so they could hear the producer, all that stuff, minus themselves, because if they could hear themselves, they would, especially be doing a live, they would be hearing a delay of it. And sometimes we got that wrong, and so anchors would have to... I've actually seen anchors rip their IFBs out of their ear before because of the echo, basically. Well, yeah. So, anyway, not a good thing. It's not something I want to do to you. So I wanted to play this video, but I have to find a creative way to, again, feed the audio to you and the live stream while also eliminating like any echo or anything like that. So, excuse me. So I was like, well, I'll just load up OBS here and play it through here, and oh yeah, gosh. And see, here's the thing. So I don't think that this system uses one graphics card over the other. I think it displays pretty much everything. I don't even know. Do you know? Can it actually display using the GTX 1060 in it? Or is that just more for rendering than anything?
Wait, what? Of course it can. What do you mean?
Yeah, but
can
like,
it display using the 1060? Well, of course it can.
It doesn't actually just use that though. It like combines with it, right? Or like switches over to it at certain points.
I'm not sure of the details on the implementation. I know that it does make use of both the Intel GPU and the NVIDIA one.
See, my thought process always was that, oh, it's got
It's
a GTX
certainly
10...
capable of using whichever one. I mean, the only reason to switch is for power management, not for...
See, my thought process was like, can I just disable the Intel graphics chip in this and just use the 1060?
You may be able to do that in the BIOS.
See, I thought I looked at that one time.
I don't know. That's why I said maybe.
Let's see. Let's just shut this down and see what... What do you mean? Zach, BIOS? What do you mean BIOS? What are you living in the early 2000s? I've heard of a UEFI. Is that what you mean?
You're not funny.
Oh, come on! You have to give me credit.
I don't give you any credit for that.
Why not?
Because it wasn't funny.
I'll give you some credit if you could tell me what the BIOS key is for a Dell.
BIOS key?
Yeah, because I don't know what the key is.
Oh, try F12.
F12 is boot options.
So do it.
Oh, F2. F2 is what I want. Let's see, settings, video. Here we go. LCD brightness. That's literally the only option that's in here.
Well, perhaps it's somewhere else.
Let's see. Oh, that's secure boot. Let's see. Performance, multi-core support, all. Intel Speed Step. What the heck is Intel Speed Step?
I don't know.
This option enables or disables Intel Speed Step mode on the processor. Places the processor into the highest. Oh, let's see. Okay. Disabled. Places the processor into the highest performance state and prevents Intel Speed Step applet or native operating system driver from adjusting the processor's performance. Enabled allows the Intel SpeedStep enable CPU to operate multiple performance states. Ooh. What do you think? It's on by default.
I don't know. The speed step thing probably has nothing to do with downward GPU.
Oh, I have turned off Intel Turbo Boost. Should I leave that on?
That has not. Well, that's for the CPU though. You should turn that on.
Here's the only reason I had it off was because
Why would you turn it off? Then your CPU won't boost.
because the fans on this thing are incredibly loud and they kept kicking up, like even like when I would open up like Chrome. Yeah. I think when I turned that off, it stopped doing that. That was part of the reason why. Like it shouldn't, but we'll turn it on. Hyperthread control. That's on. Let's see. Power management. Enable Intel speed shift technology. This option is used to enable disable Intel speed shift technology. Setting this option to enable allows the operating system to select the appropriate processor performance automatically. Primary battery charge configuration. Okay. Virtualization support is actually on. Maintenance. Let's see. There's the service tag, the asset tag, which is empty. Allow BIOS downgrade. You know, actually, okay. I was about to say, why would you need to downgrade the BIOS? But I can actually see a reason why. So, just like that. Well, actually, I never mind. There is an option to roll back Windows updates. So, BIOS recovery from hard drive. That's interesting. Okay. Well, I mean, I turned on Turbo Boost, so we'll see what happens when I open Chrome now if the fans ramp up on this thing. That was like the first thing I noticed when I bought this. I was like installing like an application or something like that, and the fans just like spun up, and I'm like, what is going on here? You remember like back in the day, like when you install a game off of a CD and you would like hear the CD drive kick up?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it sounded kind of like that. Like on a modern day computer? Like what? Oh, can I catch it before? Yep. There goes Zach.
What?
Windows updates. Because,
Awesome.
like, you know, I don't have much for the show this week, so that's why I'm kind of going through this. Let's see here. Let me decide how I want to do this here. All right, let's delete a couple of those things there real quick, and we're gonna do this. Ooh, cleaning up. I don't know if I've ever actually seen Windows Update do that before.
I have.
Have you?
Yep.
Does that indicate like a major update?
I don't know what it indicates.
Well, you know, it's been a long time since I turned the system on. I can only imagine. Did I tell you I actually did a Windows update one time and it broke Chrome?
No, but I can believe that.
Like, Chrome would, like, open, but, like, it wouldn't resolve any of the websites that I was trying to go to.
Really?
It was really weird. Of course, Edge still worked. And Firefox. They were fine. So... Oh, so I forgot to send you this. So we got a new PC at my workplace, and as part of the setup process, apparently they actually disable the Windows Update service.
That doesn't surprise me at all. They want control over what gets updated.
Right? I just thought it was kind of hilarious.
It's almost like such control should also be granted to normal users who aren't corporations.
Right?
And who aren't technical and know how to get that control for themselves.
I thought it was kind of funny.
Shouldn't have to be a technical user to figure out how to, or to gain control of your updates. Like, come on.
All right, I don't hear the fans ramping up yet. And that may have been that might have gotten fixed with the BIOS update too.
I've actually seen a lot of Dell laptops. Well, I guess the ones that my workplace buys that have some very strange fan behaviors until the BIOS is updated. So I would suggest doing that.
I think the BIOS is updated as far as it can be updated. So... But yeah, I might consider upgrading the Oh, you know, I forgot. Tomorrow is a holiday.
Don't mean I'll have the day off. It's just another Monday.
I wondered if that was gonna be the case.
Don't even.
The bank is closed though. You know, if you
corporations will only give you the day off if it's like the most the most important holiday, you know.
You get Memorial Day off.
I don't know, I guess Memorial Day is more important to them then. Whatever.
You got New Year's Day off.
Wow, I'm shocked. Yeah, no.
What other ones? Obviously your big ones: Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, 4th of July. So, okay. Well, this has been restarted. Okay. Sure. Hold on. I don't hear the fans ramped up either, so okay. Maybe you're right. Maybe that is a thing. So, okay. Well, we'll go ahead and shut that and put it off to the side, and let's talk tech news this week. So, all right. So, Zach, Intel has to be better than lifestyle company Apple at making CPUs, says new CEO. You know, he's got a point.
That's funny. Yeah, he does have a point.
Well, actually, he or she. I'm not sure who the new CEO is.
I believe it's a he, but I don't remember his
name.
Yep.
Pat Gelsinger doesn't start his new role until February, but he's already prepping the company to take on Apple's M1 chips. You know, he's got a point there.
That's a very good point.
We talked about
it is a little embarrassing for them to be worse than Apple.
It is. Well, you know, Apple's been doing this kind of ARM-based thing in their phones for a while. Well, I don't know if it's necessarily ARM-based in the phones, but
it is.
Is it? Okay, so, you know, they've been doing it. They've been doing it in the phones for more than 10 years now, you know. And I think with again, I haven't experienced the performance yet, but if the performance of the M1 chip is as good as, again, people are saying it is, there's a good point to be made here, that Intel is kind of in trouble, in a way.
Well, Apple's not going to give that technology to anyone but themselves.
No, but I think the
However,
fear
and
is...
it's already a kind of a foregone conclusion that Apple will no longer be buying or will be phasing out its purchasing of silicon from Intel.
Well, okay, so that's one thing, right? So Intel is now losing that market share there.
Yes.
Apple is a system integrator, basically.
Yeah.
And to see Apple succeed without Intel now really means that, at least at this point, Apple doesn't need Intel anymore. So that's kind of a, it's like throwing salt in the wound right there. Like, oh yeah, by the way, we're leaving you. We don't need your products anymore because they're inferior to ours, which at this point is kind of true. So we're seeing Intel not only being outperformed by AMD right now, but then Apple with an ARM-based processor, a low-powered chip, which I think a lot of the industry wasn't quite expecting to maybe necessarily be as good as it actually was. That's significant right there. Anyway, the Oregonian, a local newspaper in Oregon where Intel maintains a large presence, reports that the chipmaker held an all-hands company meeting yesterday, and Gelsinger attended. That was when was this written? This was written on the 15th. We have to deliver better products to the PC ecosystem than any possible thing that a lifestyle company in Cupertino makes, Gelsinger reportedly told Intel employees. We have to be that good in the future. He's got a good point. I don't think you see people moving away from Intel-based products, though, because, well, yes and no. I don't think a PC enthusiast is going to move to an Apple product, though, just because of the M1 chip.
No, of course not.
However, the Apple enthusiast, and Apple's going to do their best, too, in marketing, to push those people that have Intel-based systems to Apple Silicon. I mean, it's just smart business, but yeah, to be beat out by a company like Apple, I don't know. It's gotta hurt a little bit.
Oh, definitely.
Is it?
I'm sure it does.
I don't know, though. Is it one of those things where it's like, it's a thing that happened and we should be doing better? Or should Intel just be really embarrassed by this at this point? That, like, Apple, of all companies, has now beaten them out. Like, I know we throw flack at Apple, but they've got some really smart people there that know what they're doing. And I don't know, it's weird. When you tend to think of a performance-based system, you don't necessarily think of a Mac. Unless maybe it's the Mac Pro or something like that. But now we're at a point where we're spending, as much as a new car on a system. What,
I mean, most people aren't. That's like the peak spending, is that.
But that's what I'm saying. When you think of a performance-based system...
And I don't even think that's anything new.
No, but what I'm saying is when you think of a performance-based system, you don't necessarily think Apple. You tend to think more PC-based.
Of course, absolutely. And that hasn't changed, by the way.
It hasn't, but again, the M1 chip that Apple is now implementing in their brand new lineup of Apple Silicon models is significant. It's competitive. And so...
It is. It certainly is. It basically allows them to, reduce their power footprint and heat footprint.
But again, it makes them competitive in a lot of creative areas, which is one area where there's a decent market.
Absolutely.
Look, I love my PC, but there are some benefits to running a Mac. Like, honestly, Adobe Premiere, yeah, it's good software. Premiere, After Effects, like the Adobe suite is good stuff, right? But like Final Cut Pro and Motion are fantastic products that are available on the market. And Apple has built them in a way that they are just super efficient. I guarantee you that I could create the same project in both Premiere and Final Cut, and it's going to export a lot faster in Final Cut. It's optimized that way. So, and it's exciting to now have these lower powered options, because again, like for myself, yeah, I love Redmond. It's a great system. It's great for doing creative content work. But sometimes I'm on the go and I need a system that can be reliable and do that work for me. This thing's huge and heavy. If I can get that same performance and a small device that is super efficient, why wouldn't I go for it? Now, to be clear, I'm not going to go out and buy a first-gen Apple Silicon system. I don't think you should buy the first gen of anything. Because at this point, you're basically being a beta tester for Apple, and paying to do so. So, But Intel has been facing increased competition from both Apple and AMD recently. Apple announced its transition to its own silicon back in June, calling it a historic day for the Mac. I would agree. The transition has gone well, with M1-based Macs providing impressive performance and battery life compared to existing Intel-based Macs. Look, okay, I think it's fair to say that not all those downfalls were Intel's fault. Just saying, yeah. Apple.
Definitely.
Just saying. Proper cooling. Sorry, excuse me. Yup. Zach, what do CPUs tend to do when they overheat?
Shut down or throttle.
And when they throttle, what does that do to performance?
Goes down.
Yep. The most abysmal part of the whole thing was that Apple advertised a certain clock speed that the system couldn't even get to because of cooling issues. And you know what? Maybe that was planned. Who knows? Maybe Apple has been on this whole... I don't know how long Apple's been wanting to, move away from Intel and produce their own chips. Maybe they sabotaged them a little bit.
Oh, I highly doubt that.
You never know. It is Apple. Remember, at the end of the day, Apple is an evil corporation. Just saying. Now, while Apple will still use Intel chips for some Macs in the future, The move away from reliance on Intel is significant. It comes just as AMD has taken the performance crown from Intel in gaming and pressuring its laptop dominance with new Ryzen, pressures its laptop dominance with new Ryzen 500 mobile chips. I haven't actually personally experienced any of the Ryzen mobile chips. Have you?
No, I haven't.
I mean, if they're anything like their desktop counterparts, though, then they're going to be good chips. So, anyway, Intel announced earlier this week that current CEO Bob Swan is stepping down from the position on February 15th, set to be replaced by VMware CEO Pat Gelsinger. This marks a return to Intel for Gelsinger, who previously worked at the chipmaker for 30 years.
Wow.
Okay. Gelsinger now faces the reality of competing with Apple, AMD, and others after Intel has struggled to transition to 10 nanometer manufacturing processes for years. Intel has also delayed its 7 nanometer chips until at least 2022. Ouch. And the company now faces a tough decision whether to outsource chip fabrication. And we've talked about that too. If they do, who are they going to go to? TSMC doesn't have any more,
Everybody wants to be at TSMC.
Well, but here's the thing too, is I think in order for Intel to actually successfully go to TSMC and say, look, we're going to outsource our fabrication, I think what TSMC is going to need from them is a commitment that they're not going to open their fabs up again. Because I don't think TSMC is going to be like, oh yeah, we'll produce, chips for you for a couple of years and then be done. They're going to be looking for probably a long-term commitment out of Intel. So, and in fact, I'm pretty sure that's one of the reasons why TSMC in the past said we're not opening up any more production space to Intel. And I mean, there's only so many dies to go around too. That's the other issue. But anyway, that's the decision that Intel has scheduled to make next week. But the Oregonian reports it could be delayed to give Gelsinger time to weigh in on the choice. Bloomberg News recently reported that Intel has been in talks with both TSMC and Samsung to outsource some chip production. Market research from TrendForce claims around 20% of Intel's non-CPU chips will now be outsourced to both TSMC and UMC. Okay. Analysts argue that outsourcing its own CPU production would allow Intel to be more flexible and focus on its designs to recover from the 10 nanometer issues it has experienced. Apple, AMD, Qualcomm, MediaTek. I've never heard of MediaTek before, and other Intel competitors.
They mobile stuff.
Okay, and other Intel competitors are already using TSMC for chip production. Well, okay, so Samsung has fabs. TSMC has fabs. So, I mean, TSMC's not a monopoly here, but they're growing.
They do have some of the most advanced fabs, though. I mean, let's look at the GPU market, right? AMD is producing on TSMC 7 nanometer. NVIDIA is producing on Samsung 8 nanometer. And just look at the power differences between their products. It's quite significant. A lot of that, obviously not all of it is process, but a lot of it is process.
It's
definitely a significant factor.
Actually, I don't think so. I don't think we ever see Intel go out of business.
Highly doubt it.
But can you imagine?
I mean, I don't think they're in that deep of trouble. They have a lot of money.
That's true.
Decades of anti-competitive behavior will do that.
Well, so one of the things that I heard Mr. Linus Sebastian of Linus Tech Tips say is that let's see here. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask and it's not working very well. Wow, what was he saying? I forget. Oh, is that what needs to happen with these companies is that they need to bring in rather than like business-centric people as CEOs, they need to bring in like engineers as the CEOs. That are presumably more driven by, you know, the actual production rather than, you know, business and making money and things like that. Obviously you want to make money in a business, but
I mean, honestly, even a business person who's willing to listen to engineers is good enough.
yeah.
Like, you know, the engineers are happy to talk if they're asked, right?
I would imagine so.
Yeah, I would imagine so, you know. I'm not an engineer, so I cannot answer firsthand, but
No,
figure
I'm
that
not an
they are
engineer
happy
either.
to
I'm not good
weigh
enough.
in.
I'm not good enough at math to be able to do that. Let's see here. Oh, what the bloody heck? I don't know how to run Discord very well. Let's see here. Discord.gg. Is this maybe nope. I thought maybe that was what was it? Case sensitive? But maybe not. Let's see here. I'm still trying. There's a great video that I want to play later in the show, but I got to get things set up to do that. Okay, Zach. We're gonna get on to the next topic here, so that you can share your thoughts on this. Intel is killing off all Optane only SSDs for consumers, and no replacements are planned. Go.
People use that?
I thought Octane was a huge deal. Well, not a...
I didn't. I forgot it existed.
Really? I thought it
Well,
was like this...
I did not forget it existed, but of course, you know, it was never something I took very seriously.
Really?
In fact, you know, I read recently that Intel sold it at a loss.
Wait, Intel doesn't own it anymore?
No. Sold it at a loss. Like they did not make money on it. You know, they were selling it to consumers to, you know, I guess find the product, to prove it, you know, to like, you know, if you don't release the technology, no one will take advantage of it, right? No one will develop software that can take advantage of it. I don't remember all the details. But I mean, really, I think that perhaps what's implied here, I don't know, I haven't read up on this, but so you say when you say the consumer, does that mean they're going to continue pushing this product for data centers?
I don't know. In a surprising move with little fanfare, all right, Intel announced that it is discontinuing all of its Optane-only SSDs for the consumer market. Now, surprisingly, the company says those drivers aren't going to see Optane-only replacements, apparently marking the end of its enthusiast-geared Optane SSDs for desktop PCs. Intel discontinued the Optane memory M10, 800p, 900p, and 905p SSDs, representing the entirety of its Optane-only family for desktop PCs. Intel's 900p and 905p discontinued. Notices. Okay, anyway. Let's see. Series also points Intel customers to the Optane memory H20 drivers. The Optane memory paired with QLC flash on the same device. These caching drives aren't nearly as fast as the Optane-only drives.
Optane was pretty much designed to be like some kind of middle point between memory, like RAM, and storage.
Right. So it's supposed to be more like a cache kind of to help what was it? Oh, that's what I was trying to do. Hey, I just figured out what I was trying to do. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was supposed to be a way of like improving the speed of what was it? Like mechanical drives. That's what I was trying to spit out. By kind of caching like the register or like the what are they, registries? Like where
I'm not knowledgeable enough to even attempt to talk further about Optane, to be honest.
No, but how does a hard drive stores things in store stuff in registries, right?
Store stuff in registries?
Or not registries. How does it know where the different bits of the of data are? I mean, they're loaded into different sectors and stuff like that, but there is a there's like an entry made of it, right? That basically tells, when you go back to go grab something, it tells it where it is. Like, so basically, when you delete something, it's not actually gone. It just deletes the, like the reference or something to it, right? You have any idea what I'm talking about?
Yes. Yes. I don't remember the term for that.
But that's what I was thinking was, is that, like the Optane memory is like a cache that kind of, kept track of some of that stuff and, made the location, made looking it up a lot quicker.
Are you talking about a master boot record or a GUID partition table? Maybe?
I don't know if it's, not the master boot record because that's for actually like loading.
Well, that's old.
Right, but that's actually for loading the operating system, I think, isn't it? I don't know. Can anyone tell me? I have no idea what we're talking about.
Gosh, I haven't really read up on this stuff in a while.
I'm not a hardware guy at like heart.
Quit calling me that.
I said I'm not.
Oh.
Goodness gracious. I said I'm not a hardware guy at heart. You know more about hardware than I do. But obviously not everything. Just like I know more about software than you do.
I shouldn't have even spoke because I don't know. Don't know what on earth Optane is used for. I'm sure some applications benefit tremendously from it. And I'm sure other applications couldn't give a crap about it. I personally do not care about it.
So Intel Optane memory is a new type of computer memory that can dramatically improve boot times and accelerate system performance of desktop PCs and laptops. Let's see. So Optane combines a new kind of memory media, 3D X-Point, with advanced memory and storage into what Intel considers a single virtual drive. The combination is said to significantly improve overall system speed, so you can boot up faster, launch programs more quickly, and find or save files in a snap. Optane memory modules work only with Intel's 7th generation Core i processor platforms and later, and require special M.2 slotted motherboards capable of hosting the Optane chip. And while Optane has benefits for systems equipped with already faster SSDs, acceleration capabilities will be most noticeable to users of old-style spinning hard drives. Okay.
You know what else would be noticeable for those people? To just get an SSD. It probably doesn't even cost more.
Let's see. So, Optane is Intel's trademark term for a new class of hyperfast memory modules. The name refers specifically to the memory itself, not the individual format. But at the moment, it's being marketed primarily in a specialized M.2 card, compatible only with supported motherboards. I actually worked on a system that had an Intel Optane memory module in it, and I thought it was like a legit like SSD in there. And then I realized it was an Intel mod or an Optane module, and I was like, oh, okay. You know, I wonder though. And I don't have I don't have an M.2 SSD to even try this with, but do you think you can just throw an M.2 memory module into that slot and it'll work as expected? Or is it specifically built in a way where it doesn't do that?
Probably because I heard you say requires an M.2 slot that's able to accept an Optane module. I'm sure it will also accept a normal M.2.
Why not just make faster storage? Oh, this is what you were saying, Zach. Here's what this says.
No, I said if you're a hard drive user, why not just get an SSD instead of buying this thing?
Right, and what this is saying is why not just make faster storage? Well, they do. This says, funny you should ask that. While the Optane branding is currently limited to superfast M.2 cache memory modules on the consumer side of things, Intel is already selling Optane storage drives for corporate data centers. So they must be still continuing to support that sector of the business, if I had to guess. So, well, what the heck here?
We should move on because I don't know enough to keep talking about it.
I don't either. I thought Optane
I know embarrassingly
was
little about it. Honestly,
I thought Optane was a bigger deal than apparently it was, but okay. Apparently,
well, I mean, it came out and it was like, oh, that's kind of interesting, but I don't really care that much. And then, I mean, I never heard of anyone buying Optane devices like for their custom PC or anything like that. The only times I ever heard about it was like, oh, this computer, this like laptop came with it or whatever, right?
I just thought it was a bigger deal because I thought like there was like a big giant hype behind it, but apparently not. So, and judging by how little we actually know about it, I guess I'm not super surprised at this point now. So, what the actual heck is going on here? We have sent you a new verification email to This is the part where did I spell this right?
Honestly, I don't even know what you're doing.
I'm still trying to get Discord set up here.
For what?
Because I've got a great video that I want to share with you.
Why can't you just send it to me?
Because I want to play it on the stream so that we hear your reaction to it.
That's dumb. Alright. I think you're doing way too much effort for that, but alright. Suit yourself.
At this point, yes. That's why I need to get this set up in a way where I can just like, oh, okay, I want to play the video and like just play it and have it ready to go. But anyway, yeah, Discord apparently has just decided it doesn't want to send me the flippin' link to verify the new account that I just made. So, you know, that's a thing. Anyway, Microsoft to fix Windows 10 bug that can corrupt a hard drive just by looking at an icon, Zach.
Say what?
Yep, Windows 10, or Microsoft to fix a Windows 10 bug that can corrupt a hard drive just by looking at an icon.
That's rough.
Remember that whole fiasco where Microsoft just decided you didn't need your data?
It seems like they do that all the time.
Yup.
Honestly.
So Microsoft says it's planning to fix a bizarre Windows 10 bug that could corrupt a hard drive just by looking at an icon. There was a security researcher that first warned about the bug earlier this week, describing it as a nasty vulnerability. Attackers can hide a specially crafted line inside a zip file, folder, or even a simple Windows shortcut. All Windows 10 user needs to do is extract the zip file or simply look at a folder that contains a malicious shortcut, and it will automatically trigger hard drive corruption. All right, so it doesn't necessarily sound like this is like a full... See, okay, when I read that title, it made it seem like, oh, you look at this, like, this icon, and it just corrupts your data. It looks like this is a security vulnerability, but even still. So, there's a vulnerability analyst at the CERT Coordination Center that has confirmed the findings and notes that there could be more ways to trigger the NTFS corruption. This guy also revealed the vulnerability has existed in Windows 10 for nearly 3 years, and that he reported another NTFS issue 2 years ago that still hasn't been fixed. Ouch. Yikes.
Microsoft.
Yeah, thank you.
He's done with this. He's throwing shade now.
We are aware of this issue and will provide an update in a future release, says a Microsoft spokesperson in a statement to The Verge. Okay. We are aware of the issue and will provide an update in a future release. How long have you known about the issue? And future release. That's rather unspecific. A future release. That could mean the next release. That could mean a release next year. The use of this technique relies on social engineering, and as always, we encourage our customers to practice good computing habits online, including exercising caution when opening unknown files or accepting file transfers. Let's see. I mean, they have a point there. You should probably fix the vulnerability, but, you know. Others have found that the vulnerability also occurs if you simply paste the offending string into the address bar in a browser. Okay, that's a little extreme. Bleeping Computer has also tested the bug in a variety of different ways and notes that it will prompt Windows 10 users to reboot a PC to repair the corrupted disk records. The reboot will trigger the Windows check disk process, which should successfully repair the corruption. The repair process isn't always automatic, though. It may require manual intervention to successfully repair the corrupted disk records. The bug also doesn't require admin rights to trigger or special write permissions. That can make it more problematic for IT admins if check disk fails to automatically repair affected drives.
Sounds like a mess.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. But you're right, it does sound like a mess. So we have a comment. I don't know if somebody else is watching right now. Somebody says they really enjoy our streams. Cool. BMW becomes the latest automaker to shut down its subscription service, Zach.
They had one? Oh, is this? Oh, I remember this.
I think I remember.
I remember we were very angry about the prospect of, like, subscribing to heated seats in your car or something dumb like that. Just no. You bought your car, it's yours. There is no place for that ever. There's no place for that. Your car, imagine your car just has heated seats, but you didn't pay enough money to use them, or they just refuse to work, even though they're there. Imagine that. That would make me so angry. I would utterly refuse to buy a car that does that.
Yeah, you walk in the dealership, you pay a bunch of money, and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, if you want heated seats, you got to pay, like an extra,
Heated seats will cost you $29.99 a month.
Access by BMW was a $2,000 a month service that launched in 2018.
What? For what?
Presumably we'll find out. BMW is suspending its 2-year-old car subscription service, The Verge has learned. Access by BMW was launched in 2018 in Nashville as a pilot project to test out whether customers would want to have access to a fleet of fancy cars, but not necessarily own one. Okay, so this is a little bit different.
Oh, so this is like subscribing to rent a car. Or like it's like you're making a very high monthly payment on a car. But you get to like choose which car you feel like driving.
Let's be honest though, okay? If you have the kind of money to buy a BMW, you're probably not too concerned about $2,000 a month.
I mean, gosh. Well, look, I don't know. Even if I could afford that, I would like a car is more personal than that, don't you think?
I'm not a car guy, so I can't say.
Neither am I.
Let's see.
I just feel like a car is more personal than that, like a rental car or whatever. Like, if I ever have to borrow a car, I hate it. It just irritates me. Maybe irrationally so, but it does just kind of irritate me.
Dude, like,
ooh, this is wrong. This isn't my car.
A rental car is awesome because,
well, perhaps you get to rent a nicer car than you normally drive.
Well, that's true, and it's not your car.
Yeah, I know. It feels wrong. It feels like I shouldn't be here.
Oh, no, dude. Like, okay.
Maybe you think about it differently than I do.
I do think about it differently. Look, the way I think about it, like, is... So, again, TV station, right? So, they got me bouncing around all over the place from, one school district to another school district. I love road trips when it's not my vehicle or my gas. Obviously, the rental car, you're paying for the gas, but I'm not putting miles on my own vehicle.
Well, if I have to drive for work, well, my company has company cars, but if for some reason I were driving my own car, I would get paid for the gas.
Right.
They are required to pay you for your...
Well, the way I'm trying to...
essentially, the wear and tear on your vehicle as well as gas. They have to pay you for that. That's a law.
Yeah, I've gotten that too. We used my vehicle to... I had to use my vehicle to do a delivery at one point because our company vehicle was out of commission. But what I'm attributing that to is like having a rental car is nice because especially if you add the optional like I don't know so many dollars a day insurance on there, like if anything happens to the vehicle, like you get to give it back at the end of your rental term and be like, okay, like not my problem anymore.
I don't know. I don't like if I'm ever driving a car that's not mine, I don't like drive any differently.
I don't drive any
It's not
differently
like
either.
I'm beating it up more than I would beat up my car.
Some people do that though.
Well, yeah, some people do, but I don't do that.
Anyway, so recent requests to sign up have been met with a disclaimer that the service is in the process of shutting down. A Nashville resident was interested in applying for the subscription service, but was told it was going to be defunct by the end of January. Unfortunately, the access by BMW subscription program is ending on January 31st, and we are no longer taking new members, a sales representative said in an email. A BMW spokesperson confirmed to The Verge that BMW was winding down its pilot, though the company appears to be leaving the door open for future experiments. The Access by BMW vehicle subscription program was launched in Nashville, Tennessee in April of 2018 and was always intended to be a pilot program. The spokesperson said, as such, the pilot will conclude at the end of this month. We are in the process of developing the next iteration of Access by BMW and will share more information with you as it becomes available. I was just thinking as I was reading through that, though, is sometimes cars are a fashion statement.
Well, once again, it would just irritate me to just know that like, oh, I'm gonna have to give this back.
I think the thing is though, as long as you keep paying the subscription, you get to keep bouncing from vehicle to vehicle to vehicle.
I like ownership though,
Yeah, I'm not sure what other factors go into this.
I mean, again, somebody who feels the way I do is just not going to buy this.
Well, yeah, I would never expect you to
Fine.
I would never expect you to buy a BMW.
No.
You just don't care. I would never expect Zach to buy a BMW or like a Bugatti or Rolls Royce or even like I don't ever see you buying any like types of sports car like a
performance
like a
vehicle. No, definitely not. Like if I drive a bunch, like sure, something that's nice to drive, but not...
or a Mercedes or
something that has performance does not mean much to me.
Yeah, or a Mercedes or well, I don't ever see you. I don't see you driving a luxury vehicle or like you're saying like a performance vehicle. So do you even know what some of those or like a Maserati? Do you even know what some of those brands are?
I've heard of all the brands.
Okay.
That you mentioned, of course.
Nor do I know if you'd ever have that kind of capital to be able to do that.
I mean, I'm a saver, not a spender.
I don't know. Would I ever have the capital to do that? I don't know. Maybe. Look, if I was gonna spend a bunch of money on a vehicle, like if somebody gave me, a large chunk of money and said, you have to spend this on a vehicle. At this point, I would purchase a nicer, newer vehicle.
Yes,
but let's
I
say,
would too.
But let's say I already had done that, right? Let's say I had a decent everyday driver, right? Or let's put it this way, okay? Somebody gives you a bunch of money and says you can only spend this on a vehicle. You can't replace your current vehicle. Like it has to be for like a pleasure vehicle, basically.
Wait, what? Now that's something that doesn't make sense to me. It's like, Wait, what do you mean? You have more than one car? Like, this is my fun car. This is my not fun car. Like, what?
No,
Hold on,
you
what?
have you have an everyday driver, and then you have like the sports car or like the fun car, like as you
Well, that's the
said.
thing is I drive when I need to go somewhere, not when I'm bored.
Well, no, but okay.
So, I only need an quote unquote everyday driver because, I drive to work and I drive to do errands and whatever, right?
Okay, fine. If I was in a position where I could purchase another vehicle and I already had a decent like everyday driver, I would purchase what I would spend that money on, like what I'd rather have sitting in my driveway or garage would be probably a classic car. Honestly, I'd rather have
I don't
that
have
over
any interest in classic cars.
I'd rather have
honestly.
that over a sports car. So, if you could purchase a nicer vehicle today, money wasn't an option, what would you purchase, Zach?
Probably an electric vehicle.
Okay.
That's actually a trend that I am vaguely interested in.
So are we
And
talking
not like as in, I'm looking forward to the next time that I am in the market for a vehicle having the opportunity to choose an electric vehicle.
because you have a hybrid now, don't you?
Potentially. No,
I thought you did. Okay.
I did for a time.
Oh, did you purchase a new vehicle?
Oh, some months ago, yeah.
Did I know about this? Last I knew you had like a Honda.
Ask yourself that question. I don't know.
Last I knew you had like a Honda or something like that.
I did.
So you don't have a Honda anymore?
Nope.
All right, so what are you driving around now?
I have a Ford now.
Oh, maybe I do remember this. What did you get? A Ford what?
Fusion.
Okay.
All-wheel drive. In these winter months, it does a lot better.
Ford Fusion. Okay, so it's like a little coupe vehicle. What year?
2015.
2015. See, you have a nicer vehicle than I have. Or newer vehicle than I have. Okay.
Do you still have that truck?
I do. Yes.
Oh.
Now, okay, so here's the thing about a truck, right?
I don't need a truck.
No. But here's the thing
Got
about
no
trucks.
need for a truck.
Okay, so you bought a 2015 Ford Fusion used for how much?
About 15,000.
15,000.
Oh, that's what was after taxes. That was like after taxes and like everything that went with it.
Okay, so 15,000 is a decent chunk of money.
It was.
Okay, that's more on par with probably what I would expect. Well, okay. Actually, no. Because here's the lovely thing about trucks, Zach. They're frickin' expensive.
Oh yeah, they're really expensive. New truck, that could be like $40,000-$50,000.
Yes, exactly.
More than that, even. Depending on what you load it up with.
Exactly. So I've looked at new trucks before, but even something from like 2010.
You insist on a truck?
I want a truck.
Like an SUV.
I like the bed. The bed is a big.
You really
key.
like the bed. So like an SUV with the seats down in the back wouldn't do it for you? Wow.
Look,
what the heck do you carry in there?
Well, see, that's the thing. It gives me options.
Gives you options. Do you use it frequently?
Not as frequently as I probably could, but look, there's pros and cons here, okay? I don't have a second set of seats.
About it.
I don't have a second set of seats, which I wish I had. And yes, I can purchase a truck that had that, right? What I appreciate about having the bed is, let's say I need to help somebody move or something like that, or I'm moving a large piece of something. I'm not necessarily restricted by a roof at that point. It's nice to be able to throw things into, dirt, wood chips, things like that. and you can just rinse out the bed at the end of it if you need to, or even just leave it. Yard waste, things like that. But then at the same time too, like all my DJ equipment and stuff is much easier to load into the back of the bed, and then with a tonneau cover, you just cover it up and you're good to go. So I mean, there's pros and cons. So what I've honestly thought about though is purchasing a second vehicle, like a little like sedan or something like that, and then still keeping the truck basically. So I have the truck if I need it and I want to haul anything, or I have something large, but then I also have the option of having a smaller like a smaller sedan style vehicle that's easier to fit people in and probably more fuel efficient. So.
Oh yeah, that was a noticeable step down from the hybrid, I'll say, but the driving qualities in the snow is a lot better.
So you say an electric vehicle. So are you thinking hybrid again? Are you thinking, or not? Well, yeah, I guess it would be a hybrid technically.
There are plug-in hybrids. I find those interesting, but I mean, again, I'm not like, this is years down the line, right?
Okay, well, if you had the ability to do it right now,
what I should say is I expect that kind of technology will improve greatly in the next few years.
It will.
Then, but that will be like, now we can think about it.
If you had to do it right now.
If I had to do it right now, what electric vehicle would I get?
Yes. Would you buy a Tesla?
There are some issues I have with their products.
Okay, go ahead.
But undoubtedly, they're nice.
They are nice. They are a luxury vehicle.
I haven't obviously read up very much on Tesla because kind of out of my budget. You know what I mean? Not really the kind of person that can go around affording a Tesla, right?
We're in what if world right now.
But I hear they're very expensive to maintain, because nobody can maintain them but Tesla, right? It's like they're literally the Apple of cars.
See, okay, I've heard different. Because it's an electric vehicle, there is less to go wrong with it.
That's fair. I mean, hey, you're probably right about that.
You don't have an engine per se to worry about. Okay, one thing though. Well, okay, and you live in the Twin Cities, so you probably have more options than where I am. Because
as far as getting it repaired?
Not this. Well, okay, that. But range anxiety.
Oh, I don't care about range. I mean, people say, oh, this or that, like 300, 400, 500 even miles of range. Like, that's tons of range. My car goes that far on a tank of gas too, like 400 miles. A little bit over, maybe.
Okay, the difference is that with an electric or with a gas vehicle,
yes, you can just fill it up and instantly get more range instead of having to charge it.
So if I had the money to do it, because they're still quite expensive, and for what I would probably spend on a decent used, I'll tell you what it is in a second. For a decent used one of these vehicles, I could purchase probably a decent truck.
What is this?
This would be the Chevy Volt. Which looks like a pretty compelling option.
It's a plug-in hybrid.
It is a plug-in hybrid. What I like about it is that it has the ability to be all electric. But at the same time, if I should need it, I have the choice of using the gas-powered engine.
The Fusion was offered in that configuration, but they didn't make it an all-wheel drive. That's a hard sell.
All-wheel drive is nice.
It would have been like probably a done deal. They had an all-wheel drive of that.
All-wheel drive is nice. So the issue that I have with my particular vehicle right now, my truck, is that it is never do this. Please never ever do this. If you ever buy a truck, Zach.
I don't need a truck probably ever in my life, but okay.
But if you do, please buy a truck with 4-wheel drive.
Oh, is your truck not 4-wheel drive?
It is 2-wheel drive. And if you're going to buy a 2-wheel drive truck, please make sure that is a front-wheel drive vehicle.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Something snowbanks
Does it handle poorly in the snow?
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh.
Okay, not heavy snow. Large amounts of snow. Like if there's a decent accumulation of snow, it has issues. Mainly with traction that can be somewhat solved by putting weight in the back of the truck using sandbags, but it's not great. So the benefit, so even if you have a two-wheel drive vehicle, right? Like a two-wheel drive truck, if you have a front-wheel drive vehicle at that point, though, at least you have the weight of the engine. I don't.
Engines are heavy.
Exactly. And there's no weight in the back of the truck. So that is the thing. So, couple requirements for me when I purchase a new vehicle, new truck, are preferred remote start, because I currently have it now. And
I've got it now. It's great.
What I might do is look at pulling my remote start system out of my current vehicle and installing it in my new one.
I mean, a lot of vehicles just have it.
Yeah, a lot of them have it now. But so either looking for
a trend I can get behind. I'm sure in time they'll try to make you like pay a subscription for it or some stupidity though.
So
I mean, I think some of them already do that, don't they? They have like cellular enabled remote start that you got to pay for. Like what?
I'm sure that, but I'm sure you still have the option to use your regular fob.
You do.
But okay, so preferably a remote start in it. Gotta have 4-wheel drive. And then I have to be able to connect my phone into the entertainment system through Bluetooth or an aux cable. One or the other.
Pretty great. And you could get a stereo unit that has that capability.
Well, I currently have one, but here's the problem. They're starting to integrate those more into the systems in like a computerized way. Or I don't think they can necessarily be as or they're necessarily as swappable anymore. Like let's take the Prius for instance. Which by the way, I almost bought a Prius.
You know what? People make fun of them, but I don't know. I mean,
they're a great vehicle, and you know what? They actually handle very decently in the snow.
Reliable, aren't they? Reliable and fuel efficient. And
my mother bought a brand new 2009 Toyota Prius, and she still has that vehicle today. She takes it in for regular maintenance. I don't think she's ever had an issue with the engine on that. The latest issue that we've had with it was a flat tire, but that was it. Well, so the Toyota dealership, apparently she had it checked multiple times, and every single time it was checked, the Toyota dealership said, nope, it's fine. So, okay, I don't know. Anyway. Supposedly, so that vehicle has, like, tire pressure sensors on it, and supposedly the changes in season can affect that and cause it to register low pressure and things like that, which I can believe.
And it was for like 7 or 8 months out of the year, it would always complain about the tire pressure.
So that I can believe. But
honestly, that was quite annoying.
But beyond that, no. And like I said, I'm amazed at how well that vehicle actually handles in the snow. In fact, I think it actually handles better than my truck in the snow. I've seen times where my vehicle has struggled to get through snow, and the little Prius is just like, all right, here we go.
And there was a storm like a month ago, and the amount of vehicles stranded, spun out, spinning their tires, like, man, I felt very grateful for my all-wheel drive that day.
Okay, let's
maybe you remember.
Let's conquer I remember hearing about a giant storm. Let's talk about this real quick here. How did we turn into like a car channel here temporarily? But anyway,
about subscription services.
Let's talk about this for a second. Okay, Because this is one of the things that irritates me, is I'll often see people with big trucks, when the conditions are horrible, barreling down the road. I would just like to say that having four-wheel drive is not going to give you any better traction, at least when it comes to stopping.
It's not. Water's wet. Other news.
Well, and ice. Because what I feel happens here is that people have four-wheel drive, and they're like, oh, look at me, I have four-wheel drive. I am invincible at this point, right? It doesn't matter whether you have four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, well, four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, the same thing, or two-wheel drive. If you hit a patch of ice, and you gotta stop, it's not gonna make a difference. In terms of giving you better traction, at least starting off, yes, that will. Maybe getting yourself out of a ditch if you end up in one, possibly. But the problem that I see is that these people just tend to drive much quicker. In fact, a couple days ago, we had a pretty significant amount of snow. And the roads weren't horrible, and the conditions weren't horrible either, but they weren't great. So I was driving about 40 when I typically go 60, and I had people in larger vehicles, just kind of flying past me. So, that is, I think that is a common misconception there, is that just because you have four-wheel drive doesn't mean that you're any safer. You still have to drive appropriately for the conditions that are there. That being said, Zach, I think there's only been 2 times in my life where I have driven home from Mason City to Clear Lake, and I have been at a point where I said, that was really stupid and I should not have done that.
I have those moments. I mean, everybody probably has.
But only 2 times. And so I think the thing is that living in the Midwest, we're used to snow, we're used to driving in it, we're used to storms. So, we get a little bit of snow, they say there's a blizzard warning. Like, okay, fine. You slow down, you take your time, things like that. But no, there have been a couple of times where I've driven home and I've been like, that was really dumb. I should not have done that. We're talking whiteout conditions where I could not see either side of, like, I could not see where the edge of the road was, basically. So.
Oh, that was almost, that storm I referenced a month ago. Yeah, that was pretty much about 20 feet of visibility. Most people driving with their hazards on. Oh man, that was a nightmare.
Yep. Look,
so,
I have
vehicles, just crazy.
I have made that trip from Mason City to Clear Lake multiple times. I know it so well. Which is probably what has saved me both times. Is that, I'm familiar with, where the curves are, where the all that stuff. So anyway, but yeah. Anything else good in here? Let's see. Oh, so this Access by BMW consisted of 2 tiers. There was the $2,000 a month, where members could choose between models like the X5 SUV, 4 Series, and 5 Series sedans, including all plug-in hybrid versions. And then for a higher tier of $3,700 a month, they could get the M4, M5, and M6 convertibles, as well as the X5M and X6M SUVs. BMW's highest end.
$2,000 a month. You didn't even get the coolest cars?
Of course not.
Wow.
BMW's highest end 7 Series was not available through the service. The fee included insurance, maintenance, and roadside assistance. Okay. What do you think about that? It included your insurance.
I still think that's a steep price if you're not even getting the coolest stuff.
It included maintenance and roadside assistance.
dollars a year is that? $2,000 a year? That's $24,000 a year. That's a
Oh,
lot.
okay. And if that seems a bit pricey, you're not wrong. The top tier $3,700 a month plan is almost 3 times the cost of leasing an M5 sedan in the Nashville area. Though a lease does require a down payment of $5,724 and doesn't include insurance and maintenance.
Buying this, you can afford that. Like you're paying a triple premium just for the option of choosing. Like, I feel like driving something else today.
You know what there is? There's talk, though, that in the future, people aren't going to own vehicles.
I don't like that idea. I've said that. I really hate that.
So, there's this talk
I like owning something.
That vehicles will be autonomous, right? And that you'll basically pay somebody like Tesla or, well, whatever Elon Musk calls this company at this point, right?
Some company with a big fleet, yeah.
Where you'll have companies that own fleets of vehicles, and it'll be like Uber except for with a autonomous vehicle. So there's also been talk, though, that your autonomous vehicle could be used for ride sharing when you're not using it. It's like, I haven't gone anywhere today. If I had an autonomous vehicle, I could just say, okay, autonomous vehicle, go out and do your thing, and I could collect money off of that. So I don't know how you feel about that.
Options are good.
What did you say?
Said options are good.
Options are good. Yeah, you're right. Options are good. So I wanted to share this video with you, but I can't. And one last thing here. Apple is blocking Apple Silicon Mac users from sideloading iPhone apps on their devices.
Yep. That's really, really dumb.
Apple has turned off users' ability to...
What do you expect when you buy an Apple product? Don't expect to be able to do whatever you want with it.
To unofficially install iOS apps onto their M1 Macs. While iOS apps are still available in the Mac App Store... excuse me. Many apps, such as Dark Sky and Netflix, don't have their developers' approval to be ran on macOS. Up until now, there was a workaround that allowed the user of third-party software to install an app without having to use the Mac App Store. But it seems like Apple has remotely disabled it. That's a little bit scary that Apple can just remotely turn functions of your operating system on or off. I don't know if I agree with that. I could see it coming out in a software update.
Yeah.
But not having the option to remotely disable it. That's a little concerning.
I'm completely unsurprised that such a capability exists.
Oh, I'm unsurprised too. Now, when The Verge tried to install unsupported apps on an M1 Mac running macOS 11.1, they got an error message saying that it couldn't install and that they should try again later. Let's see. According to 9 to 5 Mac, the message on the most recent macOS 11.2 beta is more specific. The application cannot be installed because the developer did not intend for it to run on this platform. I don't know. What do you think?
That's dumb. I think that if I buy an expensive computer, I'd better be able to do whatever I want with it. Run whatever software I want on it, whenever I well please.
Okay, but do you think as a software developer, they have the right to say that we don't want this app to be ran on this platform?
I think that legally, yeah, they probably do. I mean, DRM's a thing.
And actually, you know what? That's probably the reason why Netflix doesn't want you to do that.
Yeah, that's a good joke though. Like, I think that's an anti-piracy thing, but honestly, I think that's dumb. Like, that kind of measure is not going to stop pirates. Just not.
No, I mean,
they're going to be up thing, they're going to be uploading Netflix's content pretty much no matter what Netflix does.
Yeah, they're going to find a way to do it.
The best way to fight piracy is to just make it not worth the trouble.
Yeah, that could be true.
Well, because, like I said, the pirates will always find a way to do what they want.
Yeah, so Apple moving to block the unauthorized app installations isn't necessarily surprising. Code was found in the beta indicating a ban would be coming, and Apple has given developers power to block their apps from running on the Mac. A power that is undermined by sideloading. It is, however, sad to see the feature go, as Mac users have been used to having more freedom in what programs they're able to run than they do on iOS. Though Apple's control of the Mac has been tightening over the years. And see, here's the thing. I don't know on the M1, I believe on the M1 Max, the only way for you to really get software for them, I believe, is to install it through the App Store. Essentially turning your laptop into a iPad with a keyboard and mouse attached to it and no touchscreen. And I don't know if I agree with that. You're right, my computer is my computer. Excuse me. I should be able to load whatever software it is that I want onto my computer. I shouldn't be restricted by what Apple says I can and cannot install on my system. I own the device. I should be able to do what I want with that device. So, but again, it's not a surprising thing for Apple devices, though.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
It's not like we haven't seen that ever before, so. Anyway. But, yeah. So. All right, well, that is all I've got for this week. So, thank you for joining us. If you liked our show, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, you can give it a thumbs down. And, yeah, that is it for this week. We'll see you next week here on the show.